Porridge today, Gromit. Tuesday. Wallace and Gromit in a Close Shave, directed once again by Nick Park, and is the third Wallace and Gromit installment overall, and the third and final film in the original Wallace and Gromit short trilogy, and the last one we would get for a good 10 years until they finally got to Hollywood in Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So A Close Shave tells the story of Wallace and Gromit have begun their brand new window cleaning business, and when a regular customer, Wendeline Ramsbottom, voiced by Anne Reid, begins a romance with Wallace. The Gromit notices there's something fishy going on with her dog, Preston. Could Preston be the culprit behind these mysterious sheep rustlings? And let's not forget Wallace and Gromit make a new friend for life, Shaun the sheep himself, who would become an Aardman superstar. Now, first things first, happy 30th anniversary, A Close Shave. I mean, this was the Wallace and Gromit movie that released the very year I was born, so I will be celebrating my 30th birthday this year, just like this short. And of all the Wallace and Gromit shorts, this is the one I have been most looking forward to reviewing, as I'm going to be flat out honest with you all. I get that The Wrong Trousers is the fan favorite of the franchise, but my favorite has always been A Close Shave, as yes, A Close Shave of all the Wallace and Gromit shorts, I think is the greatest and unbeatable one, and it probably always will be. My bias to why this short is my favorite is that uh, as a kid I had the pop-up book of A Close Shave, which was one of my favorite pop-up books I've ever had in my childhood. I had it years before I saw the movie, so it kind of spoiled the plot for me, but as a kid I didn't think about that and didn't care. And when I saw the movie for myself, I was like, oh my god, this is Wallace and Gromit at its best. I mean, I don't know how they found a way to surpass The Wrong Trousers, but Nick Park, being the animation legend that he is, just did. A Close Shave has more characters and more story than its two predecessors, and for the first time brings us the franchise's first female character in the form of Wendeline, and finally gives Wallace a love interest about a damn time. And this movie had 40 animators, twice as many as The Wrong Trousers. So I love that the Wallace and Gromit movies just get bigger and bigger and more ambitious with each one, the more confident they get. And I'm sure that Aardman needed way more plasticine for this one, for the character models, than they did for A Grand Day Out and Wrong Trousers. But and also, A Close Shave is a rather stand out from its two predecessors, is that it's the one Wallace and Gromit short that doesn't open with the classic Wallace and Gromit theme, the da 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 da. Instead, it opens with far darker music, and Julian Nott's music for A Close Shave. Some of his finest, especially in the finale, which I will talk about the finale very soon. But as for our duo, Wallace and Gromit here, this was the first time in a Wallace and Gromit movie we'd ever seen Wallace and Gromit, well, have a business and have a job. And I mean, they we never saw that in the previous two, and and they would only continue this trend with a different job in Curse of the Were-Rabbit and Matter of Loaf and Death and Vengeance Most Foul. But for their first job as window cleaners, it's a bloody brilliant. And if you thought uh, Wallace's inventions and contraptions were cracking in the previous two, you ain't seen nothing yet, because not only do we continue with Wallace's bed that flips him down into the kitchen, into the dining room, but Wallace has invented a freaking porridge cannon to fire his porridge into his bowl. I mean, just how handy would that be? Then his James Bond-esque way of getting him and Gromit ready to clean some windows. It's they're only going to clean windows, but it's like they're getting suiting up for an action movie or something. It's so cool. And the music in that getting ready to clean Wendeline's windows montage, that's the catchiest piece of music in the movie. And also Wendeline, Wallace's first girlfriend. I absolutely love her. She's simply wonderful, and she lost her father, who was an inventor like Wallace, and is doing everything she can to keep her her wool shop open. And you you feel just the torment inside her of having to keep the secret from Wallace that she and Preston are the mysterious sheep rustlers. I mean, yeah, so in that way, she's one of the more sympathetic Wallace and Gromit characters that we've ever seen, and her love story with Wallace is one of the most adorable in animation. How Wallace looks at her through the window and is about to wave, then Gromit just washes the window, and then when Wallace and Wendeline are picking up the wall together, they touch hands. In fact, Nick Park didn't meet and read Wendeline's voice actress in person until after the short, but she does an equal job, an equally terrific job at voice acting as Peter Sallis does for Wallace. This is also the first time in a Wallace and Gromit movie that Wallace is not the only character that talks. And as for Shaun, one of the most well recognizable characters in claymation now, he would go on to get two movies in 2015 and 2019, including his own spin-off show. He is the all-time greatest movie sheep character, and he is well, like Gromit, the sheep version of Gromit, and how Gromit is no longer the only silent animal in these movies that can save the day, but he doesn't steal the spotlight from Gromit by any means. He assists Gromit when Gromit can't solve everything. And the fact that Gromit can't save the day on his own in this one makes the stakes that much higher than in the first two. And speaking of Gromits, Gromit goes through more hardship in this one than ever before. The poor dog is framed as being a killer dog who's rustling the sheep, turning them into dog meat. He's framed by Preston and gets a life in jail. And when Gromit's just sobbing and breaking down in jail, like, you just want to punch down the walls of his prison cell with your bare hands and get the poor dog out of there and clear his name. And but Gromit is an absolute badass in the climax with when the sidecar transforms into the plane, which is one of my top 5 Wallace and Gromit's inventions. It's one of the most awesome things I have ever seen in animation in general. And I've heard the criticism, why doesn't Wallace attend Gromit's trials and vouch for Gromit in court? Well, the short was limited by a 30-minute time limit, so they wouldn't have had time to film trial scenes, and plus the trial scenes would have gone on too long, would have weakened the pacing, and would have been duller to watch. But this short has never a dull moment. It is all action. And now let's talk about one of my top two Wallace and Gromit antagonists, Preston, the cyber dog. Yeah, I thought Feathers McGraw was a force to be reckoned with. Preston may be a tad scarier. He's like an evil Gromit, and the fact that we have a dog antagonist now, and this bully dog has a black heart to how he frames Gromit for his crimes, and how he's turning sheep into dog meat, even willing to turn Wendeline, his own owner, into dog meat. And once again, like Feathers McGraw, he's a silent antagonist and never says a word. And it's he just you just see how devilish he is with his eyebrow the entire time, and it's beyond creepy how he breaks into Wallace and Gromit's home with and steals Wallace's washing and knitting contraptions for his evil scheme. Oh, and this also has the best comedy of the Wallace and Gromit shorts for me, when Shaun is nibbling literally everything in Wallace and Gromit's house undetected like a rat, and the porridge cannon just is out of control. Grab it, the switch is off, and Wallace's line, "The bounce has gone from his bungee." uh, yeah, and of course, Shaun eating all of Wallace's cheese in the very final scene. "Get off me cheese, grab it, go for him." No Wensleydale for Wallace this time, and in fact, this film did help revive Wensleydale cheese and bring it back to popularity at a time when a Wensleydale cheese factory was on the brink of shutting down and a financial collapse. But Wallace and Gromit's popularity helped revive it big time. And the finale of A Close Shave, to atop the train chase grand finale of The Wrong Trousers is, a near impossible feat, but A Close Shave just managed to do it. Like The Wrong Trousers, A Close Shave has one of the most exhilarating and impressively animated finales in all of animation, and maybe my favourite climax in any short movie. It's like the entire final 10 minutes of the movie, so it's the longest climax of the Wallace and Gromit trilogy. It begins with a epic a road chase where Wallace and Gromit are chasing after Preston and to rescue Wendeline and the sheep in their motorcycle, and then Gromit's sidecar separates from the motorcycle, and Gromit falls off a 2,000-foot cliff, but luckily activates the plane just in time. Then Gromit uses the badass porridge cannon as a weapon against Preston, and then Shaun helps Gromit discover Preston's location, and Gromit just flies through the wall. And when Preston is knocked into Wallace's contraption, it's revealed in a twist that he is a cyber dog and a robot this entire time. A hilarious homage to James Cameron's Terminator, and Wendeline's father, we learnt, built him for good to protect his daughter, but he turned out the opposite. And it's not like it's an out of nowhere twist. Wendeline does say just before she's captured, "Daddy didn't create you for this." So when it's revealed he's a cyber dog, you're like, oh, now that explains a lot. And there's a moment where nearly all the characters are grinded in a meat grinder, so nearly everybody's killed off in this film. That makes The Close Shave the scariest and darkest of the original three. And of course, good old Shaun to the rescue when he knocks Preston into the meat grinder on a heavy weight, and then Wallace is able to repair Preston back to his good nature. Though his romance with Wendeline is short-lived when she confesses to Wallace that she is not a fan of cheese. Not even Wensleydale. But this means that Wallace would go on to meet his best love interest, Lady Tossington, a movie later. So overall, I really think A Close Shave is the most underrated Wallace and Gromit movie, and don't get why some shave it off as the weakest of the original three shorts. I have the polar opposite opinion to that camp, and this could potentially be my second favourite movie of 1995. I mean, had Toy Story not released that year, then A Close Shave would have been my favourite movie of that year. And to nobody's surprise, A Close Shave earned Wallace and Gromit's a second Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film. And this was the last Aardman movie before Aardman would partner with DreamWorks. So this is my second favourite of the Wallace and Gromit franchise if I were to rank them. And is it one of my favourite stop motion movies of all time? Abso-fucking-lutely.
I give A Close Shave 5 stars out of 5 best Wallace and Gromit shorts ever. Atta boy, Gromit.
Oh yeah, now that's the original Wallace and Gromit trilogy done. I can't believe it. Just one more short to go on in this marathon before we get to Vengeance Most Foul. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on A Close Shave? Is it your favourite of the Wallace and Gromit shorts, or are you one of those people that puts the wrong trousers above this? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time when I review A Matter of Loaf and Death. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.